Hi darlings, thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. And today I am going to set up my DIY kit from ByTheWell4God. This is the DIY mini book. I will just preface and say that I am not an expert at making journals, but I recently learned how to make a journal and do the sew in signature method by Mindy, who is Minders78. I will link her below. She has already done her mini book and I'm basically gonna copy her, except for a couple of changes that I'm gonna do to mine. I'm gonna kind of copy what she's doing, which I'm being totally transparent about, and I asked her and she said that's totally fine. And I am going to kind of set this up. This is not a tutorial video. I'm just bringing you guys along so you guys can craft with me, because I know that I probably won't explain it as well as Mindy does. So I'm gonna link down her tutorial setup for this mini book down in the description box. Please go check it out because she is a genius when it comes to making journals, and she has tons of videos that she can show you how to do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull out what's in here. I know I had already shown you guys. We have folders, we have the craft text, which is going to be my cover. We have, I'm not using the book board because I don't want anything exposed on mine, so I'm just gonna do like a soft book. So I'm gonna save this because I can definitely use the book board to make another journal. And then I have pulled out some hymn paper, some Tim Holtz journaling cards, some wallpaper Tim Holtz paper. These are like book papers and ledger papers, vintage papers is what I should say, and hymns from House of Books. And so all of these are, and I'm gonna create some fun signatures to put in my journal. And also I'm going to use this old book paper, which is actually the texture that came with the die cuts in my ByTheWell4God main kit. So I'm going to go ahead and put you guys on fast forward. Links will be down in the description box, and let's go ahead and dig in. Okay, darling. So like I said, this is more of a craft with me than it is a tutorial, because to be honest, I am still learning how to make journals, and I just learned how to do sew-in signatures. So there's a lot of trial and error going on here, and I'm just going with my gut and remembering what I was taught by Mindy at the retreat for the workshop for making journals. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out this brown wax thread. And then I have this little template, and I have to get my bone folder, and I'm going to grab some clips as well that are going to help me keep my signatures in place, and also grab my mini Tim Holtz scissors. So this template is what I use to make my journal, and I have made, I think, 3 journals already with this template. And this is just a way for me to make sure that I am making my holes in the correct places, that I am, that it's measured out so it's not too close. And so what I did was I clipped it onto the craft text, and then I'm just poking my holes. I do have an but since the retreat, I cannot find it, which I think I've heard a couple of ladies already said that. Okay, so at first I thought I was gonna make 3 signatures, but I end up just doing 2, because after I added 2 and I was looking at maybe adding 1 more, I saw that it would be a little bit too much, it would take up a little bit too much space, and as it got chunky, I wouldn't have enough space to kind of make it bigger. I don't know if I explained that well. But what I'm doing here is I'm going through my hymn paper, my book papers, this ledger paper, and I'm pulling out what I think I'm going to use to be able to form my book signatures. I'm going to use a mix of the, it's like the craft paper that came with the kit that is for your signatures. You get enough to make your signatures just out of that. But I wanted to add things like folders and some of these vintage papers to add a little bit more interest into my book and into my signatures. Okay, so here you see me, I'm using my bone folder to kind of score down the folders that I'm going to use on both sides. Some of the folders I'll use as pockets, and some of them I'll use in my actual signatures, so you'll see that. And I'm using a mix of the mini file folders that are the add-on, and also the mini file folders that come with the DIY kit. So if you got the DIY kit, it already comes with mini file folders, so you don't have to worry about buying any extras. And by the way, this is still, I think it's still available in the shop, so I'll link it below if you guys didn't pick it up. Okay, so here, as you can see, I'm using 2 of the craft signature papers, right, the insides, and I'm using a hem in the middle and also a folder. I also started using the ledger paper, but that vintage ledger paper is so delicate that you'll see that I end up actually taking it out when I start sewing it into my signature because it was starting to tear. So I thought it was a better idea just to take it out. Instead of sewing it in, I'll just glue it in on one of the pages later on. So here I'm taking that same template and I'm making my holes. And this may look a little weird, but the reason why I'm doing the holes before I sew this in is because that way the holes are already there, and hopefully the needle is just gonna glide right through the holes since they're already done. So I'm just, again, I clipped all those papers together that are gonna form my signature. I go to the middle of the signature, and then I'm just pushing my needle all the way through. This would have been much easier with my arm, but again, actually it's all. I learned at the retreat that is not is all. Anyways, so now I'm grabbing my waxed wax string here, and I'm gonna push it through my needle. And what I learned at the retreat is that the wax, it just goes through the paper better, but also I love that it's brown here, but also that I need to leave a tail. So this is what not to do, you guys. So I started off with the top. No. And I did everything I was supposed to. Like, I held the little tail there and I pushed it through. And then I realized, because as I'm pulling it out, I realized, and this is just me pushing it through that craft text, I realized as I'm like moving, I'm about to move to the middle. I'm like, wait, I was supposed to start in the middle. Okay, so back into the middle, I pull it all out, and then now I'm just pushing my needle through all of my signatures. Then I grab my signature, and now I'm gonna push it through that middle hole of the craft text, and then I'm gonna make sure it's in the middle here, and then I'm gonna hold the tail, and then I'm gonna bring it up to the top, push it through the hole in every single one of those papers in the signature, and then I'm gonna pull down the I'll pull down that signature to the bottom. So here, as you can see, it came out of the middle part because I accidentally let go of the tail. These are things I know already, right? But when you're doing it, you're like trying to hold, at least for me, I was trying to hold the signatures and the craft text at the same time. So then I'm like, oh, I need both of my hands, and then I let go of the tail, but I was able to fix it easy. Here, I can already see that this paper is just not working. It's so delicate. So I was like, you know what? I'll just add that in later. It's not needed. Okay, so I have my tail, I fixed that. And so now I got smart. I was like, I'm gonna use a little bit of washi and I'm gonna hold that down there so I can get through this. I pull and try to tug that as hard as I can. And then I'm bringing the string from the top to the bottom hole. So now I'm gonna push my needle all through those signatures and through the craft text. And then I'm gonna push it through the middle. This is a tip that Mindy always gives, and I can't tell you why she's saying this. I'm just going to tell you this is what I do because this is what Mindy told me. You have to make sure when you push the needle back through the middle that you don't split the yarn that's already there. And then you pull really tight, and voila, one of my signatures there. And as you can see, I told you I'm going to do that twice. So here is a flip through. I just did the same thing with my second signature, and I'm skipping that third. Even though I had already made the holes, it's fine. It doesn't bother me. I'm skipping that third signature because it's already kind of the way that the binding was, or the way that the binding was, it already looked a little thick, and I was like, I don't think I want to add a third signatures. I have enough paper and it's going to get really chunky. So I use my corner chomper by We Are Memory Keepers to round off my corners. Here I'm using my Crop-A-Dile to add an eyelet, and I use the color black. And then I really wanted to kind of use the blue color because I really love that stone gray blue. So what I thought was, and here I'm just giving you another flip of those signatures. What I thought was, okay, I can use the ribbon that already comes with this. But before that, I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac. And I'm going to create some little pockets here. So I use this very pretty, this is my favorite file folder. That's why I put it in the front. And I'm going to use a Felicity Jane little black paper clip there. And then I'm looking for empty areas to add little pockets because I know I'll be using them to put like my little journaling cards. So here in the beginning of the second signature, I do the same. And then I'm adding glue from my Fabri-Tac glue, and then just adding that there on the front part of my second signature. And then I'm going to grab these little metal crosses that I have that are also paper clips, and then I'm going to clip that there. Okay, just flipping through to see if I have any other spaces I'd like to add something in. And here I also do the same. So I'm going to grab my glue, I'm going to add it to the back of that file folder, and then I'm going to add that file folder, and I actually do it on the inside, the middle part of that signature there. And I decided to glue this one down completely because I knew that I wanted a complete pocket there. So I'm going to hold that down. I also did the opposite side because I don't want to create too much bulk just on one side. Okay, so here I grab the add-on library cards, and I'm going to stick some of these in the pockets so I have some just ready to go if I want to do some journaling, which I know I will need. So I'm just sliding those right in there. And now is when I'm going to grab that pretty blue, and I absolutely love this fabric. But then I see that it's a little bit too thick, so I change courses. I'm like, okay, I can figure something out later. I'm going to grab this, the little wood eye piece, or eyeglasses piece. This came with the $75 or more early bird gift. And I'm going to grab the binding that comes with the DIY kit. And I'm just going to grab my Tim Holtz Mica Distress Spray in the color Winter Frost. And then I'm going to go ahead off camera. I went ahead and spritzed that and colored up my binding really well. Now I'm heat setting my binding, and then I'm gonna add that to my I'll add that to my little mini book. Now you could have used Distress Oxides. You could use I'm using spray, as you can see here. I'm trying to make sure that it's dry, so I'm kind of just rubbing that off on there. And I absolutely love this. It has a little bit of shimmer, and it has that blue. I was looking for a pop of color, and then I'm just gonna wrap it around my book here a couple of times. And then I'm going to do a little bow. Then I'll just grab my eyeglasses, little wood piece that is on it's on a safety pin that comes. And you can also do it on the little dangle that's like it's a little ring loop. And then I'm just going to add it right there to the binding. And then that is going to finish that up. Anything still available, I will link below. And don't forget to check out Mindy's tutorial because she is the one that inspired me with all her ideas to do this journal. God bless. Bye.